we're going to work on our Kuriniki project. And what I want you to do is get a decent sized piece of clay. So this is probably about 2 pounds, and the weight is not really important. But if you look at hand size, okay, kind of figure out how big it is, okay? And what I want you to do is just rough out a shape. It could be a square, it could be a cylinder, any shape will do, okay? Ultimately, what we're going to make is a box, okay? And we're going to start with a solid piece of clay, okay? And we're going to give it a texture, okay? And then we're going to let it firm up, get to leather hard, and then we're going to cut the lid out, and then we're going to hollow it out. So this is a Japanese process of building. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop this video, and I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to create textures all over this from the natural environment. Okay, you can invent your textures, and I'll show you how to do that as well. But let's go get some textures from outside. Okay, so that's about the size of my box. It's going to get a little bit more deformed as I press it into things, but you'll see. All right. Okay, so I'm in my backyard. This is a log. It's got some very cool textures on it. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my clay and I'm going to press it in. And I'm creating texture. Okay, so yeah, I told you that it was going to change shape, and it is. Okay. You're going to try to find something that you're happy with, okay? And then you're going to move to a different spot. Okay, get the chunks out of there. I'm kind of digging that. Okay, I'm going to go and find another texture. Okay, so I'm in a different location. This is a brick from like landscaping brick, and I really like this texture here. So I'm going to try to do that for the area that's going to become the lid. All right, it's a little bit different. It's similar in a lot of ways. Okay, so that could be one way of doing it. All right, you notice that my fingerprints are starting to show up. I kind of like that. I'm going to go back into my studio and work with it a little bit more. And, you know, I did all of those textures using the tree trunk, using that brick, the landscaping brick. And you can see where I've grabbed it in a couple places. I actually have a chunk of something in here which I need to get out. Okay, chunk of tree. But you can start adding more stuff. You can start experimenting with other things. You can use your rib to smooth out a section. And if you notice, it kind of made its own marks. Okay, so you're totally welcome to add in some invented marks. Okay, kind of like something like that. That could be kind of cool. You want to look at it from all sides. Okay, and think about, okay, if I have this pattern here, and I've got tree, and then I have this here, is that going to work? Do I need to replicate some of those things elsewhere? And I kind of feel like you need to have some cohesion. So I kind of did that on that side. Now it's okay to have the mark of the maker in there. So it's okay to have a handprint and a hand mark, but it should be thoughtful and it should be thought out. So I'm going to put my thumb in there, kind of like that. And I am going to stretch things out a little bit and work them a little. Okay. I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to get some stamps. Now these are stamps that I made from another project. Okay. Now these are made out of fired clay, and I'm going to use that to build some other layers. So I can even go on top of those cut marks that I put in so that there's a little bit of overlap. Okay, so I can't tell you where to stop, and how much more not to add. You're going to have to kind of make that decision for yourself. But you can keep working it until you find a place that you find, you nailed it. You got the exact look you're looking for. Okay. You can try other things, whatever you have around the house, you can make different marks, right? And you really should try everything. I do think that if you're going to add one element, it should be present someplace else. So maybe we put a little bit up here. Maybe there's a little right there. And then you need to think about where the lid's going to go. It's always good to plan stuff out. Okay. Now, I can make the lid go straight across. I can put the lid right at the middle. You need to kind of decide where that's going to go. I'm going to kind of follow the contours, and I'm just going to sketch out where I'm going to put my lid, because I like how that kind of bends with the form. And then when I look over here, I could make it go that way, but I think I'm going to kind of follow this line here. And then maybe make it dip again, and maybe have it come up. You got to figure out where that's going to work here. Oh, and that's nice because I got a line right across. So I will do that. Okay. Now, this is still really soft, and I can keep putting marks into it. But before I can hollow it out, I need to, I need to let it dry. Okay. I do like odd numbers. 1, 2, 3. It moves the eye through the design. And then we've got that there. A couple there. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this. But what I have to do is I have to let it sit and I have to let it dry. I'm going to take my stamp while it's still plastic though, and I am going to sign it. Put my M in there. Okay. And I'm going to let it sit there. I don't know, 4 hours, 8, depends on, the air movement in here. I can cheat, right? I can, one of my favorite cheating methods is a torch. I do that a lot when I'm throwing on the wheel. Hair dryer will work, regular old fan, or just stick it outside, but keep monitoring it. And when it gets to a soft leather hard, when it's no longer plastic and you can't put your fingerprint in it, you could spray it and wrap it up if it's late at night, or you could keep working. I'm going to let this sit and I will be back, and I'll show you the next step. Okay, I left my Kuriniki out all night, so probably about 10 hours. And remember, my studio is in the basement, so it's kind of damp down here anyway, but it is a nice leather hard, like perfectly in the middle. I can't leave a fingerprint. I'm not making any dents. It's pretty solid, which means that it's a great time to cut the lid off.